adrenaline. And then I went,
Right.
wait a minute,
You're
my
losing.
hand's not working.
Yeah, you're losing blood. Yeah.
I'm losing blood. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to die. So I got my phone out and tried to call 911. And it failed because on that day, AT&T's towers were down for maintenance. So then I ran out of my barracks room to get service, and I left my car keys inside my barracks room. I'm like, wait a minute. And I locked myself out of my room, and I'm like, oh shit, my IFAC's in there. Everything to save my life was in there. So then on the fourth floor of building 3019 on Fort Liberty, I stood there, and it was about 10 o'clock, 10:30, so everyone was still at work. I was the only one there. And I was getting dizzy. I stood there for a little bit, and I was like, oh shit, man, I'm losing a lot of blood. I started getting pale. But I knew if I went outside, 911 would eventually connect me to a cell tower, right?
Right.
And I called 911 and I got a hold of him, and I started getting dizzy. He's like, 911, what's your emergency? And I was like, hey, what's up, man? I just tried to kill myself. And this is what the operator says. You just tried to kill yourself, huh? I'm like, yeah. That's what I thought. How'd you do it, man? I'm like, I took a K-bar to my arm and I'm fucking bleeding out. What's your location? I'm like, I'm in the 1st Brigade Barracks. At the time, I didn't know my building number.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, shit, I got to go downstairs to get the building number. So I'm pacing the barracks, bleeding all over the fucking barracks. And then I'm like, oh, God, this is fucking terrible. And then they're like, I started going, I didn't realize this, but I was not losing consciousness and falling down, but I was like mentally going out. And then I started getting cold too. I was getting like, I was shivering, and I was like, man, I really fucked myself. I'm bleeding out. Nobody's here. This guy on the phone's a fucking
I
asshole.
was about to say he's a prick.
So then all of a sudden, 4 dudes show up from my company. 4 dudes from Second Platoon BCO. And if these guys are watching this, I thank you guys every day for what you did for me. They walked past me, completely walked past me. So from what I understand, these guys just thought I was drunk on like a Tuesday or Wednesday afternoon in the barracks in uniform. And I was like, she asked him for help, and I went, oh, fuck. These guys are going to get freaked out. I wasn't thinking clearly. That was my mindset at the time. It's like, oh, I better go downstairs. And then the operator goes, I started going out like this. He goes, hey. I'm like, yeah. Is there somebody there? Yeah, there's like 5 guys here. And then he goes, ask them for fucking help. I went, okay. And I turned and I'm like, oh shit. I see him. I'm like, hey, hey. And as I turn around, those dudes actually saw the
I
blood.
was
They
about to
looked at the
say,
blood.
did they if they
They
saw it? Yeah.
stopped and were like, why is there blood? And as they're standing there, I'm like, hey. And they're like, they turn around. I'm like, hey, can you guys help me? It's like this. And they're like, I picked my arm up like this and it was just dangling. I'm like, I just tried to kill myself. And they said, holy shit. So this one dude, his name is Munoz, he pins me against the wall and pinches me like this. And I'm just like, oh. And then that dude put the tightest fucking tourniquet I have ever had on. I think he got 4 or 5 twists in there. I don't know how, but I felt that. And then the other dudes got their IFACs out. They were holding me up, talking to me. Apparently, I was saying shit that I don't remember. I was like, I'm a failure. I'm a piece of shit to my family. I don't remember saying this shit, but they said I was saying this, right?
Yeah.
So then Munoz took my hand and he begins with both fingers like this to my wound, just stuffing me with combat gauze. And I don't remember feeling pain like that in my life. And as he was doing that, he was hitting all my tendon and nerves, and my fingers were doing this, and I wasn't controlling it.
Mm-hmm.
And he was stuffing it in there. And then I was like, ah. Then he wraps an ace wrap around me. And then they got an ambulance to the barracks, and I go downstairs and I sit down, and I was like, oh shit, I lost a lot of fucking blood. An MP comes up to me, and she goes, where's the knife? Where's the knife? And I'm like, it's in my fucking room. And then she goes, why did you do this? And I'm like, I just broke down crying, and I'm like, because they're trying to chapter me. And then I was like, I hate those fucking, I'm not going to say the words I call my leadership
Right.
for
Right.
obvious reasons.
Right.
I hate them. You keep them away from me. Well, we have to tell them. I'm like, I know you have to tell them. You keep those motherfuckers away from me. And my platoon sergeant and a staff sergeant, another E5 from the platoon, sprinted over. And my platoon sergeant looked terrified, like he was shaking and sweating. And then I get in the ambulance. Those EMTs were great. They were like mad at my leadership. They didn't even know me. They're like, man, fuck those guys for this.
Right,
Made
right,
me laugh on the way to the hospital. So I get to the hospital, and I was like, I guess people had to yell at me for me to hear them. I don't know what my state was.
right.
I guess maybe I was yelling when I was trying to talk. I'm like, please keep my leadership away from me. And then this ER nurse in Womack, who this woman don't take shit from anybody, said, "You're gonna conduct yourself like a soldier." And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry I yelled at you. She's like, no, it's fine, honey. Now look, I'm gonna leave your phone here for you. I'm not supposed to do that, but I'm gonna leave it with you because you've had a bad day. I'm like, keep them away from me. Okay, that's you're right. I'll tell your leadership they can't come in here. I'm like, thank you. And I heard her yelling at my leadership like he doesn't want to see you, and it's his right. And I'm like, yeah, fuck you, whoever that was.
Yeah. You still don't know who wanted to see you though, right?
No, it was one of the NCOs who counseled me for some bullshit,
Gotcha.
motherfucker, and I didn't want to see that prick. So he he had to sit between the glass door and the ER, and I was just sitting in my bed. I was fucking cold. And then they come in and like, hey, honey, we got to draw blood from you, and I'm like, go to my barracks. There's plenty over there.
Even okay. Try not to hard. I'm trying not to laugh, but not. But I get the.
You can laugh. It's
Yeah, I was
okay.
about to
This is how we get
say
through it.
there's just there's blood on the floor for you to get. Is that what you're saying? Is that you're if you want,
Mhm.
you were being sarcastic to them. So then, at this point,
So
then
then
go
my
ahead.
CO shows up to the hospital, and she comes in there, and then I see her, and I'm like, what the fuck is she doing here? And I'm not dumb. I was a former NCO at that time. She didn't have to be there, but she clearly cared. I'm like, all right, maybe she cares. So I invited her in my hospital room with the dude, and the first thing she says to me goes, just because you're not good at this doesn't mean you won't be good at other things.
Oh my god.
Oh, so fast forward to the hospital. The weekend provider in Six South told me, I was like, yeah, she said this, and the psychiatrist in Womack was like, your commander said that to you? Yeah. What a bitch. Okay, back to it. So we're
Ugh.
talking, and then all of a sudden my adrenaline just went away, and I just felt pain. Like when they unwrapped me, I saw my artwork. So a piece of my tendon was hanging out of my arm, and I was like, oh, damn, I really fucked myself up.
Mm-hmm.
I had to move my hand like this. It would flop around. I had no movement in my hand, and I was just like, in that moment, was I freaking out? I mean, no. I understood anatomy, and I did it to myself. And why am I gonna bitch about something I did to myself? You know what I mean?
You know, I was going to ask you at this point: is this the first time you've spoken about it? Like said the story like you're saying right now? Is this pretty much
I made a YouTube series about this on my
okay?
channel, Cobra One,
Gotcha. Okay.
and I went into surgery. I had to have someone help me take my pants off because they're like, "Hey, we need naked for surgery." I went, "Okay." I went to go take my pants off, and you forget what you like. I said, you appreciate something when you don't have it anymore.
Right.
I went to go use this hand, and my hand was just folding against my pant leg, and I'm like, "God damn it!" Ah." So then, had to help me get naked, which I was embarrassed by. I was like, "All right." So they put me under, and then they gave me surgery, and I woke up, and my platoon leader was there. My own platoon leader, Lieutenant Eisenhower, an officer, someone who doesn't have to do this, volunteered to be the guy to watch me because he cared that much. And I woke up from surgery. It was him in the chaplain there, and then they sent me off to Six South, and then I got to Six South, went to bed because it was late when I got out of the fucking surgery, and then woke up and I met my psychiatrist, Dr. Russin. She called me in her room, and then I just sat down, and then everything hit me. I just broke down crying, banged my fist in the table, and then she's like, "You still suicidal?" And I said, "Yes. I wish I succeeded. I wish I fucking died." And I was yelling. I'm like, I fucking hate my platoon sergeant. I fucking hate my commander. I fucking hate everybody. Fuck them all and shit. And then she put me on some medication, and then this is where some things were getting weird. All right, so told you who my battalion commander was, Lieutenant Colonel Wu Shin.
Right.
He was the battalion commander of 1504. Guess who his wife is? Lieutenant Colonel Shin, the deputy chief of behavior health at Fort Liberty.
Mm.
So here's what was going on with that. So I had my session with my psychiatrist. She goes, Commander told me some things. I'm like, what? I asked about you, and she said that you're perceived as threatening, and that there's 5 soldiers terrified that you're going to discharge from Womack and come after them. And I'm like, what? And I'm thinking, was this the 5 guys that saved me? That can't be right. Like, to this day, I love those dudes. I'll have a beer with them right now.
Right.
Were these the dudes that reported me? And I'm like, well, that's more reasonable. So then in my state of mind, I was like, hey, I can't do this. So I left and I hopped on the phone and I called my commander because I got her number. And I let her know, hey, if there's any concern about the guys that reported me, I'm the one that fucked up here. I have no interest in coming after them whatsoever. I don't fully know where that came from. And to this day, if those guys are out there, you guys are fine. I did the dumb shit, not you. So then she's like, oh yeah, you just say off-putting comments, and I'm like, I did the dumb shit, not you. Then she's like, platoon sergeant was calling his own soldiers pole smokers. What the fuck do you mean off-putting comments? We were calling, everything was in play.
Right.
In third platoon.
Right.
All of a sudden, and then I thought, well, maybe people didn't know me and I said the wrong thing at the wrong time, and that's reasonable. But then I'm like, what the fuck? So then I told her, hey, I want to let you know, ma'am, as well. I'm going to my separation board because, as you know, when you're 6 years in and initiate a chapter on you, you have a set board. She then hangs up the phone, and later that day, she comes in the hospital with this shitty grin on her face, and I'm like, I was creeped out by it. So we go into this room, and she acts fake sweet, like she cares, but she actually doesn't. And that's what I was told about her. We sit down in this room. She's like, "Hey, how's your hand?" I'm like, I can move it now. And then she's like, "Here, we have this for you." So I open up this manila folder, and it's a letter of intent recommending me for other than honorable discharge. And I'm like, she goes, "So what do you think about that?" And I'm like, this is a lot. By the way, so I've got Captain Basali and Major Panari coming in here to give you your chapter assessment. And good news, there's a chance for a possible med board for you. And my first thought is, how do you know that? What do you mean
Yeah, about
a
that.
possible med board? And also, to me, tell me if I'm wrong, Ramos. All right. I told her I'm going to my set board. Was she trying to say here, take the med board or you'll get this? That's what I thought.
And my biggest thing is that why would behavioral health be acting like this? This is stuff that just blows me the fuck away.
All right. So let's get into this. The whole reason we're here.
Right.
You have the records I sent you, right?
Yep.
What we're going to go over now is the C assessment. So here's what happened. So we sat down with Captain Basali, and I'd seen her before during my weekly checkups. She starts asking me about my behavioral health history, and she starts asking me about jobs I've had. I'm like, yeah. Every time she asked me a question, she never let me finish answering and just moved on to the next question. At one point, she said, "Do you know who you are?" And I'm like, "Yes, I know who I am. I'm." And she's like, "Okay, next question." And I'm like, "What the fuck is?" I felt like I felt disturbed.
Right, dude.
This is day 2 after I had just tried to kill myself. I'm still fucking recovering from that trauma, and they get this. What the fuck? So then she comes in, does the assessment, and they diagnose me with other specified adult personality disorder with borderline features. So, from what I understand, I don't have too many facts to give. They wanted me to get diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. That's a quick, easy chapter 514 out the army, common and basic training, but I wasn't giving them shit for that because I don't have any personality disorder. And you read, first of all, they referred to me in that documentation as a cisgender male. What the fuck is that? You remember reading that, right?
Yeah. I'm just that detail. That's a whole nother fucking. That's another 5-hour podcast, bro. On that part, I don't think she's trained. No, I don't think she's been. I'm sorry. I'll let you continue. Go ahead.
So she also puts in my medical records, and she asked me about jobs I had before the army. So I had 2 jobs for the army. I was a cook at McDonald's, and I was a buster at an Italian restaurant. I was 16 and I told her that I said some dumb shit to my boss and I got fired. And she used that and said that I have personality
Personality.
issues and I can't get along with anybody. Yeah,
I'm about to
because
say, yeah.
clearly from the time I was 16 to the time at that time when I was 25, I never grew or anything like that.
I mean, at least you had recollection that you worked at McDonald's, like some people. I'm just saying, you know. So that just go ahead. That was a political joke I just made, so that way.
Nah, you're good. But anyway, and after this, I'm like, why was I given this diagnosis? Oh yeah, you want to talk about that, right? And I'm like, so what do you want to do when you get out of the army? I'm like, I want to be a cop. Oh, you can't be a cop with this diagnosis of other specified adult personality disorder, which by the way, not true. Departments don't even fucking care. If your DD 214 is honorable, departments don't fucking care, especially if you go for a local sheriff's office.
Well,
But at this time, I didn't know that.
some police departments don't even care.
Exactly.
Some of them don't care. They have their own psychology profile that they go through on their own. Because you know, I'll be honest with you, just like the just like how some of the army training is considered to us and important or whatever qualifying, it's not qualifying in the civilian world. So, but go ahead. I'm sorry, didn't mean that.
Yeah.
So now at this point, you got the fucking letter.
So I'm asking her questions, right? Sorry, I'm asking her questions, and I'm like, I'm almost schooling her as to giving her logical reasons as to why I don't have this disorder. And she goes, and then she tells me, "Hey, you gonna want to be a cop? Oh, that's not gonna happen. Isn't there another career you want to do?" Like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So you pick my career, right? You have all the power in the world as a behavioral health officer to pick my career by labeling me as a Looney Tune or whatever. Man, fuck you, bitch. No, fuck that. Then I'm schooling her a little bit. I'm like, so maybe this is a more logical reason. Like I'm going through some shit. And I'm actually giving her some logical points why I don't have anything really that wrong with me. She goes, hey, it was great talking to you. And she shook my hand and then left Walmart like a bat out of hell. So here's also what happens. So everyone goes to JRTC, and I'm sitting in Walmart in 6 South, coloring, journaling. That's all you can do, really. And the front desk lady goes, "Hey, Bill, so and so, one of my buddies from my platoon has called you and he wants to speak to you." And I'm like, "Okay." So I got his phone number and I called him on the kitchen phone, and he was like, "Hey, how you doing, man?" I'm like, "Dude, this is fucking crazy. England recommended me for an OTH. Like, what the fuck, man? I know I fucked up. I didn't deserve this." So the next day after this, I don't know what happened. First, my platoon sergeant, who I was just shitting on earlier, he told me how much this impacted him. So that day when I slit my wrist on my way to the hospital, he went back to his office and my platoon sergeant sat in his chair and he just stared at the wall. He couldn't talk to anybody. And I thought, so here's something I want to tell about my platoon sergeant. As much as I'm shitting on him, out of this whole thing, I'm the least mad at him. It's obvious that dude's fucked in the head. Not just from me, but from the squad leaders. So NCO to NCO, the other squad leaders were like, "Hey man, watch out for Sergeant Anthony. He gets in his moods, it's bad." So I aimed at Dr. Ramos. I think from my time at Walmart and seeing people that my platoon sergeant might have borderline personality disorder, and it makes sense. If not something wrong with him, because he would go off and it concerned a lot of people. New Joe's whatever, fuck Joe. Let him get traumatized a little bit. But when other NCOs are concerned, it's like,
Now, did anybody at all come out and say, "Hey, I'm sorry that this happened. I'm sorry that did like the CSM come down, did the battalion commander come down and say,
nope.
a we're
Nope.
I mean, nobody wanted to talk to you. It's almost like after your suicide attempt, you were like
So
fucking
I did talk to the CSM months later, but I understand that JRTC was happening. Now, my platoon leader and my squad leader, both my most squad leaders, Sergeant Erickson and my other squad leader, fuck, how did I just forget his name? Fuck, he's gonna be so mad I just forgot his name. Other great dude. They came and visited me along with my platoon leader. They all visited me to see how I was doing. A lot of other people came to visit too, but there was no time for them because JRTC was happening. But as far as my
I don't
battalion commander,
okay,
hmm,
if you're excusing them for that, then that's okay. But I just for me, I would have thought that they would have made at least a few minutes to come out and see you. You know what I mean?
Sergeant Major, CS, and Battalion Commander, no, they didn't come out. But I will tell you, Frame, if you guys don't know who Frame is, you know that meme that I think you posted, that Fancy Bear posted, of the Sergeant Major saying, "Don't eat pizza at the Land F site." That was my Sergeant Major that gave me my first reading. That was him. For those who don't know, I don't know why he couldn't come down. I didn't think he was obligated to, but I will tell you that man's an excellent Sergeant Major, and he gives a fuck about his guys. But going into this, I told my buddy, "Hey, dude, I don't. This is crazy." And then he tells me what happened, how my platoon sergeant was affected, and I tried calling my platoon sergeant. So I was trying to pick a time. When were they going to be in their bunks? Because before JRTC, they're just getting vehicles unloaded. When is my platoon sergeant going to be free? Because I felt guilty. I'm like, I gotta let this dude know that this wasn't solely his fault.
Right.
I don't want him to, and I don't want him to go in the box like that. I gotta let him know that. But I kept calling, and apparently they locked their phones in lockers for that rotation. So I was like, okay, at least he knows I tried to reach out to him. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe he'll take that with him. And I was glad I could do that. Next day, my psychiatrist, I was walking. One of the nurses came up to me. He's like, "Hey, Bill, come here. Could you not call your unit leadership at 11 o'clock at night?" And I'm like, "All right." For those who don't know, when you're in Womack 6 South, bedtime's at 9 p.m. 2100. You were not up past that. Um, and you're off the phones by like 8:30.
Right. I was about to say. So who fucking called him?
And also, Louisiana is an hour behind us. So if it was 9 p.m. here,
It was 8
if
there.
we, so they're like, "Could you not call at 8 p.m. at night?" And I was like, then they started saying some other stuff that like I'm trying to turn soldiers against my CO. So I got mad at this nurse and I was like, "Hey, I'd like to go now." And she's like, "Okay." So then I had my daily sit down with Dr. Russ, and so she sits down with me and she's like, "Bill, got a phone call from my boss." I'm like, "Yeah, what's this about?" So my boss's boss and Colonel Shin, the deputy chief, this is where she comes in, told me your commander during, because you have to talk to the commander before you sit down with a soldier,
Yeah.
that you're trying to rally the troops against her and that it was inappropriate to call a private who this private
Jesus
was a
fucking.
team. This private was a team leader in weapon squad. I was also a team leader. That's why we were friends. Also, during this JRT rotation, guess what they put him as? A fucking weasel, a weapon squad leader. So she was gaslighting the situation, trying to say, "Yeah, he called a private. That's just so inappropriate." First of all, I was a specialist at that time. You took my fucking stripes. What was inappropriate about talking to another Joe? Anyway,
I was about to say that. Why would they care? Why would they care why you're talking to your teammates, anyways? And who's feeding them this bullshit that you're rallying people against her?
I don't know. Maybe so that soldier that I'm talking about was really close with the commander. I don't know what he said. I don't fucking know. Maybe he was like, "Yo, man, what the fuck? Why is he getting an OTH? He's not a bad dude." Or maybe that happened. I don't know. But all
Why
of a
is your
sudden,
commander? Why is your commander close to privates?
oh no, another thing too. So she was most likely. So I was talking to some of the boys I still talk to there. Apparently she's not there anymore, but apparently she may have been fucking this dude. Which, because I'm not gonna say that she was
But but
when
but street but the street, the barracks, the smoke pit saying that she was.
and when she's like, "Hey, so and so," like acting really like I'm like,
Oh
and
man.
we're watching it. You're like,
So then, you get
so
to.
here's
Go ahead. Go ahead.
my psychiatrist says, so here's what happened. She bitched to Lieutenant Colonel Shin, Wu Shin. He then called his wife, the deputy chief, who then called the major in charge of Womack, who then talked to my psychiatrist about this. You see how that
Yeah.
was going
Yeah.
on?
Exactly. Exactly.
And then she was like, she said, "You need to tell Shelker to limit his phone use." And then my psychiatrist said, "First of all, he is not a prisoner here. He is a patient. And if you want to tell him that, you can call him yourself. You have our phone number."
Jesus fucking Christ, dude. So
My
that.
psychiatrist looked me in the face and said, "It sounds like your chain of command is targeting you."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we could have said that from the beginning of the podcast, but I'm just saying. But pretty much, yeah. That's the impression that I'm getting, is that there was some serious fucking targeting here. So then, now at this point, how long were you in 6 South?
I was there for like 2 weeks and then I discharged and I My psychiatrist said, we think he should move companies. This is they saw immediately, they knew that England was a problem, that she was targeting me, and they wanted me to get the fuck away from her for the sake of my mental health. The battalion commander, I don't know if it was him or what, they said no, he's staying where he is. And then I tried to move platoons to get away from my platoon sergeant because that fucker, like, granted, he has some mental health issues. He still did me dirty, and I wanted to get away from him because I'm not. I feel for him, but I'm not gonna let him get into a mood and trying to wreck me. Like, not letting that fucking happen. So they said, "Hey, you're not moving. You're going right back when everyone comes back to same platoon, same company." And I went to Rear D after I discharged, and I met Captain Roth. He was the Rear D commander. He was the S6 OIC, the comms guy. He started seeing me. It was very simple. Like, it was so easy. Show up here, stay here, and then go here. He said, you don't seem bad. I guess he was bad. England was bad mouthing me, calling me a piece of shit or whatever. I don't know. But he was shocked to see me. He was like, so what do you want to do? I'm like, you want to stay in? I'm like, yeah, I want to fucking stay in. And if I'm getting kicked out, I'm not getting kicked out with an OTH. I don't deserve that shit. Like, are you fucking kidding me? So then he tells England that I'm going to my step board. And immediately her response is, wait, wait, wait. I'll get him an honorable. Listen to this. You recommended an OTH because you're fair and impartial when recommending reward and punishment, right? And she said, don't worry. I'm not the decider here. And an OTH is not that big a deal when she gave me the letter of intent in the hospital.
Right.
All of a sudden, when I said I'm going to my set board, she said that I'm going to get an honorable. So then, I'm going to work every day and I'm going to my behavioral health appointment. So I had one behavioral health appointment. I sat down with him in that little iPad sheet that you fill out.
Yep.
Are you suicidal or are you not? There's an option where you can click through it without answering yes or no. I went through the whole thing because I didn't give a fuck. And I went in there because I was mad about my diagnosis. Because at that time, I'm like, I want to be a fucking cop. This is what I want to do. And you people think because you got some rank that you can ruin the rest of my life. Like, fuck you.
Right.
So I went in there, and then this captain was like, "You have to do this. You have to do this, or we have to send you to the hospital." And I'm like, "No." When I was in Campbell going through therapy, my therapist said, "Hey, man, if you think do not lie to me, all right? If you don't want to answer a question, just don't answer it." And then what she would do is, I would literally not answer half the questions, and
Right.
she would make an assessment herself if I needed to go to the hospital or not. This dude looked at me and said, "You got to fill this out, or we're gonna have to send you back to the hospital." Like, no. Maybe talk to me. Ask me human to human. Are you feeling suicidal? How are you doing?
Yeah.
Show me you fucking care about the soldier. So then I'm like, I'm getting a little aggressive. I'm like, I want to go to fucking get a reassessment done. I don't have a condition. And then he's like, okay, well, you might not get it. You might not get it. And I'm
So
like,
how long did it go before you got your final disposition of your discharge?
all right. So I discharged May 15th, 2024. This was back in March
Right.
and February when I attempted. So here's another thing too. So I attempted suicide again, and when I wound myself up back in the hospital, here's what I did. During this whole thing, I'm like, how are they changing the recommendation? There is so much shady shit going on, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, what the fuck is she doing? So I said, you know what, fuck. And when I discharged from Walmack, I was already planning my suicide attempt again in Walmack. The medications they gave me, I did research on them, found out I can't OD on them, so I decided to go with sleeping pills. I went to the PX and I bought the Exchange brand version of the sleeping pills. I got the 72 packs. Got 2 boxes of those, so I had about 100 and 140. So one night, what I did is I planned it out. I popped them all out of their little popper things. I put them in a plastic bag. But then I went, wait a minute, this looks like ecstasy. So I ripped out the little label that said sleeping pills, put it in the bag, and threw out the boxes. My plan was to take all that shit and throw it away so that if they found me, they couldn't figure out what I was on and it would prolong my demise. So one night, and I wasn't sleeping. I was not sleeping. I get off of extra duty at 23 and I would just stay up because I was just, every night was heart pounding. Every night I just couldn't handle my shit. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. So I took 2 pills at a time, down to about 10. Then I took about 5 at a time, got myself up to 70. Then I got to 100. And the next thing you know, I was at 140. And at one point, I was like, don't people die when they do this? And then I'm like, yeah, I'm invincible. Nothing's going to kill me. And then I got to the last pill. And then all of a sudden, fucking rush of bolts was going through my neck, and my head started pounding. Like it felt like someone was hammering the inside of my brain. I was like, and I felt my eyes. I was like, holy shit. And then I'd stop, and then all of a sudden, like I felt everything was heavy. Like my finger felt like 30 pounds. So then I called the staff through the NCOIC because, I was like, Sergeant, come here. He's like, hey, brother, what's up? I'm like, Sergeant, I fucked up. What, dude? I took over 100 sleeping pills.
Ugh.
So then they got Sergeant Smith, the medic, another E5 who was in my company. He came here and he's like looking for what pills I took. Cause like, you should take melatonin. And I'm like, no, you can't. You can't overdose on melatonin. First of all,
Yeah.
like in my research.
You might get sick, but I don't never heard anybody smoke, doing that on melatonin. So
And I got I told them I just exchanged brand sleeping pills. So EMTs show up. And by the way, I was on the fourth floor of the barracks, and the EMTs made me walk down the stairs, and I'm literally like to the railing. I'm like, oh, shit, my eyes are starting to pop out of my head, and I'm throwing up. So I threw up twice on my way, and my vision's going blurry because my pupils are starting to severely dilate. I was throwing up black. So you know what that means. I was bleeding internally from the pills. I get in the ambulance, and then I throw up again. And all of a sudden, I'm paralyzed, and then I'm back, and then the EMT's looking at me like, dude, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I think I'm going in and out. And then all of a sudden, my head starts like convulsing and shit. So then all of a sudden, I'm paralyzed, and I see a white light. Now, I wasn't dying and seeing heaven. My pupils were like this.
you're graying
So
out.
the Yeah, exactly. So all I could see was white. I was whiting out. And then the same ER nurse that I remember came and saw me, and she's like, "Hey," and she knew it was me, and she's like, "Hey, honey, I need you to look right here." And I'm like, and I said in my mind, "Yes, ma'am, I'm here. I can see you." And then she goes, "Okay, guys, he's unresponsive." And I'm like, "Whoa, I'm fucking dying." I wasn't moving shit. Like then all of a sudden everything went black. So 2 days I was in a trip, the worst trip of my life. I don't remember tripping balls, like, because when you overdose, your memory gets wiped. But here's what was happening that night. I puked 6 times. I was pissing on nurses. I was so one male nurse came up to me. I don't know. I got violent, and Smith, who was watching me, said that I just attacked that dude. I punched him as hard as I could, and they had to hold me down, and they had to have security come in and watch me. I don't remember this shit whatsoever. But I tried to escape the hospital multiple times. I tried to run. Like I was in war in my mind. I don't remember any of this shit. And then all of a sudden, Smith. I didn't even remember that Smith was watching me. I just remember him in my barracks room. And then all of a sudden, my buddy Moreno was there, and Moreno was like, "Hey, dude, you know where you are?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm somewhere in Walmart." And like the other female nurse came to me, was like, "Oh, thank God!" And her husband, who was also there, they were both officer nurses on shift. Her husband's the guy I punched. The dude kept looking at me like this, like, and I'm like, why is this dude trying to size me up? Why is he watching me? When I found out, I tried to fight him. I
so
feel
how
sorry.
how
That
long?
dude was
So how long were they? I mean, what did they give you anything? What they said? Hey, you feel like
Ativan. They put me on a shit ton of Ativan to calm me down
okay?
because
I
I
was
was
about to say.
belligerent. I was like, they were just putting fluids in me. I don't even think I ate. 2 days, I was just like, it was Sunday night. And then they woke me up, and Renee's like, "Oh, by the way, Shogun, I want to let you know it's Tuesday night." And I'm like, "What the fuck happened to Monday?" And the ER doctor comes in, fucking pervert. This guy's like a fucking pedophile. He's like, "Hello there," and I'm like, my head's still pounding. I can barely walk without someone helping me, and I'm like,
Let's get in your face, going, dude, shut up, just get out of my face.
I was about to punch him.
So at this point, then you
They
were.
sent me,
Go ahead.
they sent me back to Six South, but usually you're supposed to give it like a day in the ICU. No, once I was awake and alert and knowing where I was, they sent me straight to Six South. I could barely fucking walk, and my head was pounding. I go back to Six South and I sit in the kitchen and I'm like, oh, my fucking head. And the nurses come sit down and they're like, oh my God, Bill. They were like, why are you back here? What the? I'm like, yeah. So they reinserted me in there, and then my psychiatrist, Dr. Russin, pulls me in. We have our session. She's like, "So, I read your charts. It looks like you overdosed on Benadryl, which is the same ingredients as the sleeping pills I took, which is what they thought it was. Because I made sure to throw that away. Like I said, I planned my demise to where if they did find me, they couldn't find what pill I was on. Uh, maybe I thought maybe you did some research on your pills, and maybe you knew you couldn't overdose on the pills I was prescribed, and you went out and planned your suicide." And I lied to her. I said, "No, that's not what happened. I was just in a like a I wanted to be in danger type of thing," and she believed me. But then I found out that they were trying to send me to JRTC to keep an eye on me, and I was like, "Oh, okay." So I told her, "No, I tried to kill myself because I was not going to JRT with those fucking people. I was
Right.
not letting that fucking happen." And she's like, "Why'd you lie to me?" I'm like, "Well, she was upset at me, but she cared." And we had this dude come in. So he was a master sergeant about to commission as a PA. And this dude was a special operations medic. And for those in the audience that don't know, anyone that's Army knows that on a special forces ODA, you've got a weapons sergeant, Green Beret, you've got a engineer sergeant, you've got a comm sergeant, and a medical sergeant. Well, because there's only one medic and medics are so important, there's a thing called a special operations medic. That's where these dudes are qualified to be 18 deltas, but they're not 18 deltas, and they get treated like shit. But they're in SOCOM, they're special operations medics, and that's what this dude was, and he was commissioning. So this dude was like a dream come true for me. He was like a leader that I strived to be like. He was reading my records with Dr. Russ and going, and I didn't understand why they were always concerned when they read my records. I didn't understand it until I read them myself when I discharged. So they were like, he's like, "Dude, you got to get away from England. You got to get as far away from her as possible."
Get away
I
from the whole
considered
fucking
going.
unit. Get away from the whole
I
fucking unit.
I
Um,
considered going to Sergeant Major Della Pena. So I knew Della Pena because he was my brigade sergeant major when I was a private, and he helped me move to First Brigade when I got there because I wanted to go to First Brigade. I was not going back to Two Fury Second Brigade, but because I knew Della Pena don't take this shit very well. He was if he knew this was going on, Della Pena would fight somebody. That's the type of Sergeant Major Della Pena is, and he's the reason I PCS back to Fort Bragg. As soon as I heard he became Sergeant Major of the division, I went straight back to Fort Bragg. But he's like giving me advice on this, telling me this stuff. Be smart when you do the open door policy. And during this time, Captain Roth visited me and issued me a new chapter. So the chapter changed from a chapter 14 with a recommendation of another honorable discharge to a chapter 13, unsatisfactory performance with an honorable recommendation. And one of the charges on there was fraternization with junior soldiers. And the name on there was Captain Sean Martin.
what?
This fucking prick. So let me tell you about Captain Sean Martin. Captain Sean Martin was my platoon leader at Campbell. I had this son of a bitch do my reenlistment. This dude was friends with my commander. They both went to West Point together. They didn't have enough to chapter me. So she called him and they colluded together to have him lie about some shit that happened at Campbell. He said that he counseled me multiple times. Not once did I ever receive a counseling from Captain Sean Martin or First Lieutenant Sean Martin at that time. And also, let me tell you about Sean Martin from the 101st. When we were in Poland, that dude got drunk one night when we were in Krakow and was harassing local people. And the Polish kind of didn't want us there to begin with a little bit, but we tried to be friendly with them, let them know, hey, we're here to support you. He was drunk, making a mockery of the officer corps and our unit by saying, hey, he looked at some 7-year-old woman was like, "Sup, Dyke? How you doing, Dyke?" And I was an E5 at the time, and I went, "Hey, sir, chill the fuck out."
Yeah, the 101st really doesn't have a very good rep in Poland when
No,
it
it was a fucking
yeah,
disaster.
exactly.
Everything.
So then now now you got you're getting ready to get discharged, and then what they finally give you?
So here's what happened. I come into my psychiatrist, Dr. Russell. She's like, "Hey, Bill, are you sure you didn't threaten Captain England?" And I'm like, "Dr. Russin, you know I didn't threaten her. Where the fuck is this coming from? Everyone knows I did it." Well, Captain Graziano, this dude, I never met this dude. At least I don't think I did. Has been going through my medical records, making appointments for me at the Romford Behavioral Health. He is the behavioral health asset that went forward with my unit, JRTC. on a daily basis, he was interacting with Captain England. And this is what I found out. Dr. Rustin told me she hated my commander. Six South hated Captain England for what they were doing to me. They were like, it's almost like they were saying, fuck that bitch too. So Captain Rustin was like to Captain Graziano, I don't think his commander likes him. Well, first of all, why would she like me if I called her a bitch? What she was trying to get at was the targeting. And this is the response Captain Graziano gave. Well, I mean, he did threaten his commander's life. Regardless, let's say I did threaten her life. Behavior health is supposed to be unbiased. You're there for the soldier. In 2021, when I was PCSing, we had a dude who had multiple shark complaints and was getting chaptered out. Guess what? He was like, holy shit, he went to behavioral health. No one tried to violate his HIPAA rights or do shit. They're like, hey, this guy needs all the help he can get. He's fucked right now. Unbiased. You're there for the soldier no matter what.
So
Once she told me that, I said, what? And I said, what the fuck? So then I ended that session. I got up and left because it was almost like they wanted her to interrogate me and find out if I threatened her or not.
exactly, that's the sound
Again,
again, and also made it seem like they're just going through your fucking medical records and picking apart what you're saying to fucking slam you even more. That's what it looked like too.
so then I went to the front desk and I said, hey, can I get the number for Fort Bragg IG? Got the number for Fort Bragg IG and I called them like, hey, ma'am, I want to let you know I'm a patient in 6 South right now. I don't want to give you Looney Tune impressions or anything like that. I am not on any like antipsychotics or any narcotic medications. I'm stable. Listen, I'm being targeted. Here's what's happening. I got an Article 15, whatever. Okay. My commander keeps telling Robinson Behavior Health that I threatened her life. After the 15-6 was concluded, it stated that all I did was call her a dumb bitch. She was at my first reading with Sergeant Major Frame, where he said the charges. If I threatened her, that would be a charge. There would be no question about it. If there was a sworn statement that said that, it would be a charge. And it wasn't. I read my 15-6. No fucking statement said that I threatened her. Then, Battalion Commander read my statement. At the second reading, same shit. I was charged with all the counts. Not one was for a threat. We're concluded. Like, let's sit. Look. Telephone game happened. You're supposed to be as a commander. Hey, there's allegations someone threatened you. All right, let's conduct an investigation. All right, I guess he didn't threaten me. Let's keep an eye on this guy. But like, he didn't threaten me because no one's coming forward. No, she kept telling behavior health over and over again. I have documentation of this fucking bitch going in my record saying, oh, we have to kick him out with a Chapter 14C because clearly he's not a good fit for the military. Specifically, already picking a chapter that's going to get me to an other than honorable discharge.
Mm.
I hurt her feelings, and like my roommate said, I never forgot it. She's going to take this as far as it goes. She wanted to ruin me because she's a spineless bitch who cannot handle mean words. She cried to the battalion commander. I'm all mad about the battalion commander because he let her do what she wanted. I bet if this was two things. Go on to the 82nd Airborne's Facebook page. Her face is the center of that fucking profile picture. Go to Gavin Hall. Her face is the center down there. So they treated her like the princess and she was able to get away with this shit. And that's what was going on. So then I discharged from the hospital. Right before I discharged, Dr. Rustin looked me in the eyes and said, Bill, and she was crying, please, for the love of God, because this woman, Dr. Hannah Rustin, my psychiatrist, was an angel sent here to this earth by God himself to watch over me, said, if you're having a bad time, just come back. You're more than welcome back, please. And I realized the impact that 6 South had when I attempted again and how much they fucking gave a shit about me. And I was planning my third suicide attempt while in there. I wrote an op ord for my own suicide attempt. Here's what I was going to do. I was going to get a box cutter. I was going to cut down the street correctly. I was going to live stream it. I was going to go somewhere where it would be far enough away to where if they tracked where I was, they'd have to go a far distance. And then I was going to have some scotch as my last drink, and I was going to take more pills. So in case the slitting didn't work and they were there, I could overdose on the pills and die. That was my plan. And I was going to call all the names out of the individuals involved. But instead, I looked at her in the eyes and I went, damn it, I can't fucking do that to her. So if I ever had a bad time, I just used my coping skills like she taught me.
That's what
I
it's all
just went
about.
on with it.
That's what it's all about, brother. Is I mean, you are, and in talking with you for a while, you have every reason to live. I mean, shit, you got friends that talk about me to talk to you to talk about us. You know what I mean? So
Good old Hitch.
yeah,
Hitch
Hitch.
told me, he texted me, he's like, hey, ask Ramos about his ring in the restaurant he had in Iraq. I said, that's the fucking moderator who's telling me what the fuck
It
moments. Go
wasn't
screw these people.
it wasn't a restaurant. It was an ice
It was
cream
ice
shop.
cream
It was
parlor.
an ice cream parlor that it was, and not too many people know about this, but it was an ice cream parlor that there was an Iraqi. I was involved in an ambush, and at the time I didn't really know who it was, and then there next thing you know, there's Ramos ice cream shop, our ice cream parlor, ice cream bar, what it was, and I pull over and I'm like, what the fuck? And then it comes out and it was the guy that I had saved with his family in that ambush near Solder City. That's a story that's a I mean, Hitch will tell you that was
Hey,
fucking.
that's a badass story right there.
I mean, it's funny, but it's not. I mean, but it's like holy shit because that was a bad ambush. At this point, you're out now, and you finally did get an honorable
So
discharge.
well, let me get it this way. So they changed to chapter one because they were scared that I was going to the board.
Okay.
And then they looked at my AMR files and saw my 3 Army Achievement medals. They saw my 2 Good Conduct medals and my NCOERs that said, hey, I'm not a piece of shit. And then they recommended an honorable instead of, she was just manipulative all the way. So after that IG complaint, I then said, move me clinic. So I moved out of Robinson and went to a new clinic. And Dr. Russell put in my records in all caps. He refuses to go back to Robinson. And when I did that, they called me in and said, hey, we think your mistreatment is bad. So we're going to move you clinics. So I moved clinics. And I'm in West Liberty now. That's where I'm going, which is across the street from fucking Two Fury, my old battalion that I was part of first time in the 82nd. And I was there, and they're like, hey, so this is another thing you need to know, Ramos. This is what my therapist said at West Liberty. He said, I just want to let you know, Shoker, Robinson sends us people that they say are a fucking problem. But when I get them, all of a sudden they're fine. That stuck with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
What the fuck?
So then, what was your final disposition? What's your final discharge? What's your final?
So here's what happened. I went to my set board. And then 2 of the counselings they had on me were redacted. The board, what I wanted, I didn't want to get out. I wanted to stay in, but at the same time, I had to accept a discharge if it happened. I got an attorney, which is Phillips J. Law, a very well known attorney at Fort Campbell who helped one of my soldiers out at that time. And he called me because he was in Iraq '03. He was in Panama in '89. He served a long career as a JAG and as an E5 before he got out. And he got my chapter pack and said, dude, I don't understand this. They got you on such minor stuff. Why are they doing this?
Right.
Because in his eyes, this is let's correct the soldier. Because in those days, or even just 5 years ago or 2 years ago, it was, all right, this guy's a little fucked up. The lowest common denominator is your mission to fix. That's what the army is. Not, oh, like their thought was, I upset their ego, so now they have to ruin me and get rid of me because I'm a problem. Like, no, fuck that. So I go to my board, and the prosecutor was all cocky because he thought he was getting a bad dude out. But then he got more worried and concerned because none of my leadership, so they called four people, CO first sergeant, my platoon sergeant, and the C6, who's a fucking bitch that counseled me for helping a suicidal. I got a counseling from this guy for helping a suicidal soldier. So that guy I told you about that did the racist thing, that got moved companies. They ordered the entire company, the entire platoon, not to talk to him because they hated him, and so they ostracized him. One night he was bad. He didn't say he was suicidal, but like I know signs. So I called his friend. His friend was on staff duty. The E6 came in, slammed the door in his face. So they called his leadership in, who began shitting on Captain England and all BCO 1504 because they hated her. They're like, why
Mm-hmm.
the fuck is so many people on extra duty from BCO? What the hell? And I told him that they ostracized him. So then, get this. That staff sergeant, who's Staff Sergeant Goodman, went to the company commander of SECO, who hated Captain England. He then took my roommate to IG, and they filed a complaint against England. Listen, Ramos, a company commander filed an IG complaint against another company commander. Is that common, or is that like, man, she's this much of a problem? This is what we got to
I
do.
have never heard of that shit.
Neither have I. It's always like if you're a sergeant major with an issue with another sergeant major, what do? You guys go talk
You go
about
talk
it.
about it or take it to the wood line.
Goddamn right.
Okay,
So
so then
so
what?
they
Go ahead.
so he counseled me for improper use of chain of command because I helped my roommate, and they tried to use that to chapter me. Luckily, that was redacted at the board. My CO comes in giggling like, I don't have a problem with him whatsoever. He's clearly just not a good fit for the military. Okay. And then there was allegations that I told my new roommate, because my old roommate, Seco, said, we need to get you the fuck away from Bico. They wanted him away from Bico. Like, they were like, these people are bad. So I got a new roommate, and they said that they got that roommate of mine to write a sworn statement saying that I called her a bitch again. Um, they literally just pulled him in to try to get him to write a sworn statement saying something negative. And from what I understand, he said, no, I just told you what I thought of him and what other people have said that he said. But I guess maybe when he said what other people said that he said, maybe that included me calling her a bitch and that they said, oh, we got him. So they came to my board saying that they got this sworn statement. But guess what? They didn't bring the sworn statement to the SEP board. Already looks like you're fucking lying.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
So then when I first started, they called my platoon sergeant, and I hate this son of a bitch. And this son of a bitch better hope to God I never meet him face to face again. This son of a bitch made fun of my suicide attempt at my board. So they called my platoon sergeant, who was on emergency leave, and I feel for him. If he was going through some shit, leave him the fuck alone on emergency leave. Unless he wanted to call, then whatever. So when they asked about my performance, he's like, "Well, when he was in the field, he was just acting like a private." I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't doing my best in the field. I was built up, I was worked up. Take responsibility for that. But then here's the thing, though. They say he's acting like a private. What's the majority of the army right now? It's E1s and E3. Okay,
Yeah.
and how
And
am
you're
I?
and
Am
you're
I?
young and you're young. You're a kid. I mean, you like to make fun of my age, but you're a kid. You're fucking. You're young. You're. I mean, you're acting young. You know that's not a. So with the evidence, let me take that back. With the lack of
So then they
evidence,
So then they said, the board, the prosecutor was trying to get why I deserve to be discharged. Why am I a poor performing soldier? And they just brought up, I talked to him. He looked like he gained weight, and he said that I said that he went through some stuff at the 101st, which obviously, the thing with Knapp and McGee. By the way, fuck JP McGee, piece of shit. And I'm glad Knapp got fired again. By the way, she has a wife and kids, and she did that. Fuck her too. Anyway, and he started going, yeah, and then he brought up my suicide attempt, and he's like, and then took him off as to initiate separation. He just kept saying, I need to go to my barracks room. I need to go to my barracks room. Not what happened. I just sat there and went, I'm gonna go to my barracks room and get my contract for you. Then I went. So first of all, that's a lie. Second of all, you're admitting that you maybe saw signs that I'm troubled and you just let me go off. Retard. But anyway,
no,
this
you're right.
dude also
That's
just
what I'm saying. It's like they let the sign they let the signs continue to continue to continue until your suicide attempts.
mind
You know what I mean?
you,
So
mind you, this rant was because of the question why I'm a poor performing soldier. And he goes, and then all of a sudden I heard that there was a dude in the barracks with a tourniquet on his arm. So we ran to the barracks and we should have known. There he was, just lying on the floor. And I started getting fucking mad. I wanted to reach through that phone and beat that little midget motherfucker myself. But I'll never forget what James told me. Do not get mad. He got mad himself. And I looked over the board president, the major. He was getting fucking
I was about to
pissed.
say, what was his reaction?
They were all like, this is the goal I wanted at that board was for them to see how retarded my fucking leadership was so that if there was another separation that came to a board that they could see that shit because they did not act composed. So then my attorney goes, all right, enough of this. This is not a fucking med board. Tell him to stop right now. And he goes, yeah. And then the major starts screaming, hey, sergeant, that's enough. You're permanently excused from this board. And anyone wants to call me on this bullshit, this board was recorded before Brigade Legal. It's probably also why I've gotten no comments on my YouTube channel saying that I'm a liar, because I'm not lying about anything I did.
So
And
then,
then this motherfucker.
so
So
then,
then first sergeant comes in. They call my first sergeant in. And my first sergeant, I told you, my first impression of this dude, this dude was such a douchebag. This dude wasn't even a real first sergeant, so he had the diamond because the actual First Sergeant James, I think you mentioned, he was the first sergeant of that company, a legendary first sergeant. He had to step away from some personal issues, so they put MCO in charge, my first sergeant. They call him in, and he's being professional. Oh, cool, he's being professional for once. And then he goes, we have to separate him. And when they ask him a question why I'm a poor performing soldier, he even backed up. One of my counselings were for losing my CAC. He's like, yeah, you lost his CAC. It's a standard counseling. You know, and I'm like, okay. He's being professional, cool. And then he goes off and goes, we have to separate him. He's like, so my attorney asked him, so why didn't you guys try to rehabilitate him? We couldn't rehabilitate him. Why couldn't you rehabilitate him? Because he was in the hospital. Okay, why was he in the
I
hospital?
was about
We
to say.
sent him there because we care about him.
Oh
No,
my
you didn't send me there
God.
because you care about me. I was fucking bleeding to death and needed emergency orthopedic surgeon. You didn't just go, oh my goodness, my soldier needs help. Let's get him to the
Right.
hospital. Oh, you fucking pussy.
Right.
Sorry, almost broke that line.
It's
Oh, you
okay.
fucking bitch. You didn't fucking care. Here and also, here's the rehabilitative measures. Article 15, next day, initiate chapter, same day I attempted suicide. Where was the rehabilitative effort?
Right.
None whatsoever. And the regulation says you have to put in rehabilitative efforts, and they didn't fucking do that at all. So anyway,
So let's get
he
to the.
then he then starts going on saying he's constantly telling people he's gonna harm himself with pills. He doesn't get his way. He fucking
Any of
causes a
this,
scene.
but any of this is not even substantiated. No one's fucking put sworn statements together. Nobody's putting fucking.
Listen to this, Ramos. He just said he's always telling people he's gonna harm himself with pills. So after my second suicide attempt, I guess he said that I'm telling people that I'm gonna harm myself with pills. First of all, not true. I never said. After my second suicide attempt, I realized how valuable life is. Pill overdosing is painful, and I never want to do it again. Second of all, if I am going around telling people that I'm going to harm myself after two brutal suicide attempts, I took 5 pills. No, I took 140 pills in an effort to fucking die. Okay? And you're telling me that you heard rumors of a soldier who just did that. You're a first sergeant who's responsible for the care of everyone in the company, to include the commander, and you're going to just not do anything. But wait till a set board to bring that up to say that I suck at being a soldier.
Exactly. Exactly. So then, the board finishes up, and then what? After all that fucking screaming and yelling,
So,
what was the decision finally made?
oh yeah, they called my old PL, and they even sounded like he was lying. Oh, correct. I counseled him multiple times on this incident of fraternizing with soldiers. No, no, no. We were in charge of Company 2502. All right, I know you guys did something on 2502 back in 2022, 2023, when Sosa killed herself. You guys put that meme out. All right, you remember that? I was reaching out to you guys back then. I was there when that happened. So I was in charge of 2502. Fucking Martin was my platoon leader. We both go to HHC. I go to S3 because I asked to move. I was done with charge, and charge was fucking ridiculous. And then I'm starting hearing stuff that I was fraternizing with dudes. I'm like, hey, sir. Took him aside. I'm like, what's this about me fraternizing with Joes? He's like, yeah, I heard you were getting too close to the Joes. And I'm like, okay. We were both out of charger in HHC. He's not in my chain of command. He's a scouts platoon leader. I'm an S3 driver for a sergeant major. And that's how that happened. He said that he counseled me multiple times. And they even tried to get those counselings to use against me, which, first of all, you can't do. To be destroyed upon reassignment or ETS, unless for a rehab transfer. Clearly says it at the bottom of the DA form 4856.
Pretty much.
And then he said, oh, I don't have them. I lost them. No, no, you fucking retard. You never typed them up because you're a fucking liar. That's what happened.
So then nothing's produced. Nothing comes out. What's
They recommend, they took 2 of those counselings and redacted them, but they found everything else true, to include my Article 15 from Campbell, which was bullshit. And I'll gladly come on here and tell you all about 2502 and the 101st as well. But they recommend separation under honorable conditions. So, granted, I went to the board. I let them know that I got some cojones because I'm not going to bend over and let some dumb bitch throw me out of the army because I hurt her feelings, and redacted 2 of those counselings. And then my attorney said, I want the brigade commander to review the evidence. So then we leave. And my commander, as I leave the boardroom in 1st Brigade, she comes up to me later and goes, hey, and then walks away. She was very immature and did shit like that. Like, yeah, you see that look on your face? That's not how a commander acts. But because she was the face of the division, And because some of the old heads are sexist, they just think this is how women are, and that's bullshit. There's some badass women that can serve, that are capable. And also, she was the face of the division, so they were letting her do what she wanted. My BC was letting her do whatever the fuck she wanted. Then I was dealing with my flipple as well. So my flipple, while I was in Walmart, the second suicide attempt, they went in my barracks room and took all my TA-50 to proxy clear me and lost it, and then said that I had to pay for it. Yeah, I did a flipple with my attorney, and the battalion commander, after he recommended that I pay for everything, read my flipple and went, "Oh shit." Captain England was like, "Hey, Shoker, you don't have to fucking pay for anything." I'm like, "Oh, did the brigade commander read my flipple?" No, 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 the battalion commander did. And I went, "Oh wow, it's almost like he knew he was a fucking idiot."
Yeah, I'm about to say
I
so.
so I went to
God.
CID. I went on our army and said, "What do I do?" I went to CID and they said they can't do that. I was admitted to Walmart. You can do that if someone's committed to a mental hospital, but committed. That means committed by a judge outside of a base. If you're admitted to a hospital, that's command referral. They also pulled me out multiple times to go to TDS to hurry along my chapter process. So they could have had me come out and had me turn in my gear. But no, they decided to kick me out very quick because the battalion commander was scared that I was going to kill myself and make him look bad. So they're
Sounds
trying to
like
kick me out as fast as
I was
possible.
about to say so that's what it was. It was a process out. So now that you're out, your discharge is honorable, correct?
Oh yeah, honorable. And on top of that, so my 214 does say unsatisfactory performance, but as you know, when you're out, your character is all that matters. And on top of that, there's two versions of the 214, one without your character and one with just your awards, and then one with your character discharge. You don't have to show people shit. Just tell them you're a veteran. I got a job as a diesel mechanic. It just says on my resume that I'm a veteran. They didn't need to see my 214.
Yeah, exactly,
And I already got
exactly.
hired. I'm about to be a junior diesel mechanic, which is going to be pretty interesting.
That's
But
good
anyway,
shit. Are you going to go through any apprenticeship journeyman program? That's awesome. A diesel
I'm gonna
mechanic
be
is a
working
fucking
on
good gig.
you're an old, like I said, you're old. You know what the deuce and deuce and a half is?
Yeah. Oh,
It's a
yes.
surplus. It's a surplus company that works with. They buy old deuces, they fix them up, and they sell them to people like Six Flags for their safari adventures and stuff.
So you'll be
Or at
working on.
least
So you'll be well, depending on which model year it was. You either worked on. You'll be working on a Cummins or a Detroit diesel engine. Because back growing up doing my diesel mechanic days, it was always an 8V71 Detroit diesel or an 8V92 Detroit diesel. So then now, what's your?
so hold on.
Go ahead.
I discharged,
There you go. I was
and
about
my
to ask you.
attorney calls me. So they didn't determine. So they recommended that I get chaptered. I get word that they're trying to do my chapter process, and I'm like, wait a minute. I went and got my chapter paperwork, and I went to the brigade Sergeant Major Rodriguez, and he said, "Wait a minute, you your chapter packet hasn't been signed yet." I'm like, "What?" Yeah, I'm like, "Yeah, well, I'm already going through the chapter process." They're like, "But your chapter process hasn't, like, the brigade commander hasn't signed it. Everything that goes to him goes through me. He hasn't signed your paperwork yet." I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, "All right, can I talk to him?" And then you had to set up an appointment with him, and I was about to walk in his office, but then what stopped me from doing that is I got the pre-copy of my 214, and when I touched it, I don't know what it was, Ramos. When I touched it, my world opened up, and I realized, wait a minute, I'm fucking free. Otherwise, I would have barged right in the brigade commander's office and asked for 10 minutes of his time. But anyway,
At that point, you're out.
I discharged, and then as I discharged, I left through All American, and I got a post pass, and I went back on post to go to Walmart to go see Six South, and saw Dr. Russin, and I told her about she's the reason I didn't try to kill myself the third time, and she started crying and asked if she could hug me. And we did, and she told me, "You're gonna do great things," and that meant a lot to me. Like I said, an angel sent here by God to watch over me. That woman.
Amen.
Anyone here
Amen to that.
who finds themselves in Walmart, request Dr. Russin. I can't tell you how amazing she is. She literally became a psychiatrist because the thought that someone's not feeling well with their emotions just hurts her, so she has to fix people. Like, that's just the most amazing woman. But when I discharged, I went to go stay in Ohio with my buddy, and at this time, I got my medical records released to me, and I was like, "Oh, you know what?" I got them emailed to me, and I started reading them. And when I started reading them, I had an epiphany. I saw everything the records I sent you, which is why we're here today, and that's what happened. And then I started my YouTube channel explaining all this, which is Cobra One on both TikTok and YouTube. And
Hang on. Matter of fact,
G,
let me fucking. You said Cobra One, right?
yep, capital Cobra One at Cobra Dash Nation, all in caps on YouTube.
Cobra. Hang on. I'll show everybody right now.
Oh, thank you, Ramos.
So we can give you some love.
I appreciate it.
So let's see.
So James called me,
So
my
what?
attorney. He said,
So what's
"Hey,
it?
hey, what happened?"
So what? Real quick, you said Cobra One at what? What is it now? It's just I just typed it up in the search.
Cobra One and then it's at Cobra Dash Nation in all caps.
Cobra One Dash Nation. Let me look it up. Let me look it up.
I have about 196 subs, and my profile picture is a cobra snake.
So
My favorite,
in the
my
search bar,
favorite snake.
I'm being retarded right now. In the search bar, what do I type? Cobra One
But
as
Cobra One, capital, all capital Cobra number one.
number one. Okay, that's what I was fucking up on. There we go. Holy shit, there's a lot of fucking Cobra Ones in here.
Mine's the black, the green, black, and red snake, and it's just all capital Cobra One. Everything's capital letter. It should be the top one. I think I'm the most subscribed one out of all of them.
This doesn't let me see it. That's so fucking weird.
If you also look up Toxic Leadership Part 1, 2, 3, and 4, those are my most viewed videos.
Toxic leadership.
Part 4 is my most viewed. That should pop up.
Toxic leadership. I don't want to fucking. Damn, I should have fucking got you this.
It's good, Rant. Good, Ramos. I appreciate the love.
It's it's not fucking. It's not showing me shit. Dude, I don't know what's going. Oh, here it is. There you go. Let me throw you in here and throw some angry Billy here. Hang on. Let me get you on here so we could see ya.
So anyway, I'll continue. So when I was out, that's when I started making my YouTube channel, my YouTube videos explaining what happened to me. And then also my buddy Rice, you just brought his name up, got into his contact, Hitch, his buddy, and he knew you, and we started talking. And then I read my records. Yep, that's it. I read my records, and I read the what I sent you, where I was a cisgender male and like describing me as this piece of shit, basically. And I was like, ain't no fucking way that this was put in medical documentation. And I had an epiphany because in that moment, I was free. But then I realized something. Someone is going to join like I did when I was 18, 19, and they're going to go through this shit. I'm not letting anybody go through that while I can do something about it. And started the YouTube channel. And also, good old Jamie Phillips reached out to me. And Jamie Phillips was like, hey, so what happened with my discharge? I'm like, they started my chapter process before Brigade signed it, right? He's like, yep, I know. I'm like, what do you mean? Also, they stopped contacting me. He was calling Brigade Legal saying, I want the brigade commander to review the evidence. And they would not answer the fucking phone. So currently we're working on a discharge review board because I'm trying to get back in.
You're
I don't
trying
know
to.
if I'm going to the National Guard or
Yeah,
if I'm going active duty.
I was about to say, man, it's a process and a half going through the National Guard. It's a lot. How do I say this? It's a lot easier going through the National Guard, and then once you get back into the system, then you can go active duty. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so
And you could do a year, right? You could start off with 1 year in the guard and then
usually, usually it's best off. What I would do, being my former guard self, is what I would do is I would be in there for a year, pick up a couple of ADOS missions or IMA missions where you go volunteer for active duty stuff like overseas or something like that. It's easy to fucking do, and then they'll send you out, activate you on orders for about a year, or you can even find some of the IMA stuff and go AGR for a little bit, and then that gets your foot in the door to go active duty. Um, so now, so you got diesel mechanics, dude. I could already. Let me put this thing back up. You got your fucking page up. That's what I'm talking about. That shit. I like all, you got some good rants in here too. I'm just already seeing it.
My my favorite video I made a video of me eating crayons in honor of the Marine Corps. And another video I made celebrated Pride Month. I'll let you watch that on your own. That's one of my most viewed videos on TikTok as well.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, so I started with toxic leadership series, and then I went into some other stuff. My most recent video is my 1911 video.
Yeah,
I'm
this
going
right.
into my gun collection as well.
The one thing I like
So
right here is men's mental health matters. That's fucking important because a lot of dudes. I'm telling you what, man. We don't get into it as dudes. We don't get into it enough on how the way we tick or how the way we think, and how everyone tells us how to be. And it's fucking to me. It's just like one of those things where it's important that we get it. We really need to rally around ourselves to do this. So
absolutely, it
but
matters. Like I always told my guys, if you think no one supports you in behavioral health, I support you. Like I went through a lot of shit. Granted, I will tell you, I should not call my commander a bitch to anybody. That was wrongful as an NCO, regardless of how I think or feel, and I take responsibility for that. But like I said in my toxic leadership series, everything they did was unnecessary, and I was gonna let that go until I got a hold of my medical records and saw everything they were doing, and it all made sense. I was
yeah,
suspicious of that happening because I always listen to that little, ignore that little voice when I should be listening to it because I was holding on to the army I once knew, and they let that happen. My battalion commander let that neglect happen, and instead of trying to enforce discipline, they fucking tried to toss me aside to cover their asses, and that's not leadership. That's fucking bullshit, is what that is.
exactly.
Luckily, after I left, so as you know, when a company commander gets done with like this was her first company she ever commanded. You usually go to another company like HHC, Brigade HHC, whatever. They sent her straight to Advanced Airborne School to be a jump master. Uh, it looks like to me they pulled a Captain Sobel on her because the entire battalion was tired of her and wanted her gone.
Well, I was about to say, they're probably going
She
to
also
farm.
volunteered for them.
Yeah, yeah. Being the 82nd airborne life. In order for you to lead
That
troops,
could
so
also be it too.
leaders are supposed to be, leading troops. I have missed out on plenty of soft missions because I wasn't a jump master, and it wasn't until I became a jump master way later in my career, to where I could finally understand the importance
Well,
of
she
it.
was
So,
already a jump master though.
oh, so she's going to be an instructor then, a jump master
Yeah,
instructor.
that's what I'm saying. An instructor.
Oh, gotcha.
She went to school to be an instructor.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So she's gonna be a black hat there for a while because that's a 3-year hitch. Um,
And
so
I think they did that on purpose. But still, though, like if she was a male, I guarantee you they would have already removed her. But because she was the face of the division, she got to get away with it, and that's bullshit. I'm not the only one she's done stuff to, and obviously she was able to get behavior health on their side.
yeah, I was about to say that was just it's just
And
fucking
that's why we're here today is because of what behavior health did. And that's the reason I tried to kill myself was because the people who were supposed to help me made me want to kill myself. Like, what the fuck?
exactly.
And I don't want anyone to go through that.
Exactly. I'm gonna tell you guys right now. Billy's story right now is one of 2 other incidences that we've been working on, and we just finally were able to get. And I know me and Billy were talking earlier about because he's curious too. We have 2 other stories that are going to be involved. The same thing like this, HIPAA violations, and because I see also HIPAA violations in this happening too. So, dude, first off, I fucking I love shooting the shit with you in the inbox and all that. And
It's an honor. I've been looking forward to. It was a dream of mine to talk to What the Fuck moments. I worshipped this channel as a young private in the E4.
well, I mean, Hitch had something to do with it too. So,
I love Hitch.
yeah. So
that man.
so we go back, and like I said, there's a lot of stories about me that people don't realize until you brought it up to my attention, and then I'm like, oh shit, because not too many people know about that story. But bro, thank you again for hanging out, man. Thank you so much for hanging out.
Of course, this is for the boys 100%. Everyone wearing the uniform, this is for you. Like, you fucking matter. Like, there's a lot of great things the new army's brought. Like, my platoon cared deeply about me and didn't want me to, like, they cared and were worried about me. And that's camaraderie right there. Versus
Exactly.
back in, like, they were, like, some people like, oh, he's suicidal. That dude's a bitch. Like, no.
No,
And those
no.
guys deserve to see outstanding leadership because there was a point where they put a gag order, don't talk about your separation process. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And then they ordered the company not to talk about my separation process too. I didn't know that till I discharged and I was reaching out to people.
Well,
almost like they were trying to cover their asses.
Yeah, I was about to say it sounded like you were covering your ass. So, Billy, thanks again, bro. We're gonna go ahead and kill off the show because, dude, you're like I think one of the longest podcasts of you shooting the shit. I've had a guest shoot the shit with me in a while. So yeah, Dana says this is an absolute insane story. I've been retired for 7 years now, and this shit like this is infuriates me. Well, Dana, we got 2 other Med stories coming up too. So, again, my man Bill. And his story about Womack, again, this will be loaded up on all the podcasts. It's broadcasting live on 5 platforms, two YouTube pages at U.S. Army WTF Moments and WTF Nation Radio, 2 Facebook pages at U.S. Army WTF Moments and WTF Nation Radio, and, of course, the X app. Shut up, Susan. Susan, shut up. Just shut up, Susan. The X app. So share, like, and follow on all that. And, of course, Cobra One YouTube, so you can hear all of his rants and stuff like that. I want to look at that 1911 video. I can't wait to see that. You got Arnold already with the
hardballer.
Yeah, the hardballer, the AMT. Yeah, the AMT hardballer.
Hardballer.
Yep. So, all right,
you'll like my 1911. It's a Springfield Imbel model.
Nice. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and take off. Make sure you share, like, and follow. Don't forget tomorrow we got Pop Culture Warrior. And then, of course, the Smoke Pit on Wednesday. Thursday, start time. Friday is FTX. Saturday is Co-ops. And then Sundays, the Sports Bar. And then, of course, right back at the Monday edition. So with that, y'all have a good night. Shouts.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Sometimes when I look at, I don't know if I'm allowed to say